Good evening. It is 6 p.m., Monday, August 14th, 2023. My name is Kathy Sizemore. I am chairperson for the Temecula Community Services Commission, and I'm calling this meeting to order. We'll begin our meeting with the flag salute, which will be led by our Commissioner Castro. Please rise.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All righty, we'll ask our Commission Secretary Tracy Tomanes to please take our roll call.
Commissioner Castro,
Here.
Commissioner Hawks,
Here.
Commissioner Kingsburg,
Here.
Vice Chair Audi,
Here.
and Chairperson Sizemore.
Here.
All present, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, we'll move on to the next portion of our meeting, the public comments. And we have a special period of public comments that we will be honored and privileged to have tonight.
Yeah, so for our first speaker, I'd like to bring up our Community Services Manager, James Wilcox.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, guys. It's good to see you guys. I don't come too often, so it's good to meet some of you guys and good to see the other guys. As Tracy mentioned, my name is James Wilcox, Community Service Manager. Tonight, I have a special thing for you guys, and it came up where it will be in my update as well, but I thought in person would be even better to acknowledge and to introduce two of our recognized youth leagues that have made it all the way to state. And so with that said, I'm not going to say too much, but I am going to introduce each league to have a representative come up, and maybe their team can stand up behind them or wave to you or whatever. But with that said, they're going to give you a brief introduction of their organization and their team. So, this is Eric Schaefer with Temecula Valley Little League, or Temecula Little League.
Temecula League, yeah.
It used to be Valley Little League.
We dropped the Valley. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to James. I appreciate him giving us the opportunity to come up here and see you guys and say hello. And to you guys, I really appreciate all the time and effort and energy you put in. We know as volunteers and keepers of the community that a lot goes into it. So thank you. I appreciate it. I want to let you guys know a little bit about the path to state tournament in which these young players took. The season started last spring. We go through a 25-game, roughly 26-game regular season that includes our in-house postseason, and then it goes to a Tournament of Champions. In that time between end-of-season Tournament of Champions, we select our All-Stars. This year, we had representation of All-Stars for every division that we're able to offer through Little League International, and our 11U team this year, they actually made it to state. It being the second year to state, it was a great honor, 2 years in a row as me president, to see the young athletes at 11 years old get that far. But other teams did really well also. So once we get through our all-star selection, they go through rigorous practices. I think you held 4 or 5 hour practices every night for a couple weeks. They go into the district tournament. They play all the 7 cities within our local district. Once they make it through there, which is like a 5 or 6 game challenge, they go into a section tournament, Section 9. There's 4 teams in that Section 9 tournament, and they came out on top. I mean, without a doubt, they went through our section tournament really well and battled 2 games through the state tournament. This team and the team last year, as 11U tournament or teams, was the furthest Temecula Little League has gone in well over a decade. So it's a great honor, great feature to the league, and goes without saying that we're extremely proud from Temecula Little League of our little players. So without further ado, I want to introduce a couple of the kids that came out because they got the opportunity to come out here, and I'm sure it's going to be huge and they'll never forget it. So Mr. Castillo, come here, or I'm going to have you guys hand out the hats, okay? Eker. We got Eker Yee. Go ahead and walk 2 hats up. If you guys don't mind, we brought you guys some hats and pins. Is that okay? Okay.
Thank you.
Sergio, I'm sorry, you already got a hat. And James, yours is coming. Come on, Jax. You got Jackson Mansfield. Caden Neininger.
Thank you.
And Mr. Castillo, come on up, buddy. There you go. So we'll keep pushing. These guys played hard, and thank you for the time, guys. I appreciate it. I got two of my coaches here. I have Coach Colin Mansfield, manager, and then assistant coach Mike Bodman.
And a shout out to the parents, because we know how hard they work so that their kids can have these opportunities.
Thank you, Eric. The next person I'd like to come up is Mary. She's representing Temecula Valley Girls Softball Association.
I'm a little short, sorry. Good evening. Thank you guys so much for having us out. James, thank you for inviting us and our team out. We're Temecula Valley Girls Softball Association, our local youth softball league. In our spring season, we had over 400 girls registered. This is a record number of registration for us, which we're very excited to see girls coming out, seeing the sport grow, having these lovely ladies out here going all the way to state nationals this year. Yeah. So we have a similar process to what Eric explained with our all-star season. We play a 12-game regular season, then we have playoffs, and then we do an all-star selection. So all 13 of these ladies had to try out for this team. They were selected by Coach Fernando and his group of coaches. They played 5 or 6 pre-tournaments, then they went to districts. They came in second place. They went to states after that, up in Lancaster, California. They were selected to move on to the USA Softball Western Nationals Tournament. They were up in Roseville, California for a week. They had a very exciting time up there. They got to go through the whole gambit of having their equipment checked, having a photo shoot, staying in hotels, staying in Airbnbs. They got to do some gift exchanges with other teams from other cities. Very cool experience for them. We haven't had a team do that in quite some time either. So we're very proud of them. They worked very hard. 3 and 4 hour practices a couple nights a week. I'm sure you've all been there too. I grew up in this league before it was actually TVGSA. It was a Little League softball out here. So I get emotional about it because I'm very proud of these girls. I'm so excited to see so many girls coming out here, working hard. Their parents out there with them, their coaches, their siblings, everybody putting in the time, the effort to get them going to where they need to go. We're also very excited because this season for fall, we have record number registration as well. We're just under 400 girls. So we're super excited to see everybody coming back out. Yeah, it's very exciting for us to see. So Coach Fernando, ladies, you know how I feel about you. I am so proud of you guys. Sorry, it's a mom thing, I guess. Coach Fernando, would you like to introduce your team?
How you guys doing? All right, so first girl is going to be Linda Leon. You can stand up. Kyla Smith. One of the hardest last names I had to write on the lineup card. Julia Hand Schumacher. Brooklyn Nahar. Amani Mountain Hill. Samantha Myers. Carmela Mahoney. Chloe Kosh. Madison Clark. Blue Putnam. Charlie Lampkin. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach Fernando. We appreciate all the hard work you put in this summer, too. Thank you guys again very much for having us out. We look forward to coming out tonight, and we hope to be back soon next year doing the same thing with more teams.
I know the clock's running, so I'm going to make this real quick to end this. First off, you just saw what's representing the city of Temecula and our community, and they're amazing. Their leadership, this is all volunteer, as you were talking about, for the parents that are out there driving back and forth, sitting there, all the dedication. So true blessing here in the city of Temecula with these leadership and this kind of style of coaching to get to the nationals and to state as well. So thank you guys and have a good night. One more time, applause for them.
Thank you so much for coming out here this evening and sharing your accomplishments with us. We are just honored to have you here with us tonight, and we want to give you a heartfelt congratulations and also to just thank you for your representation of our city. We are a city of excellence, and it's just so amazing to see these excellent youth out there representing our city so well. Thank you to all the adults that are out there. You know what? You're the heartbeat of our community, and we appreciate what you're doing. So thank you. Vice Chair Audi?
Yeah, I'd like to say my daughters grew up in Temecula Little League, and I got to coach in Temecula. I don't remember if it was Temecula Valley or Temecula softball at the time, probably Temecula Valley Little League softball. But it was impressive to see somebody like Mary who actually played in the league, and now she's giving back to that same league, giving back to the community. And I just wanted to say it's very impressive what you young men and women have done and represented our city well. And the fact that you have high numbers of participation in both leagues, you know, you just say, come on out, let's be active, let's be healthy, let's learn the game, let's learn about life. And then James and Sergio figure out a way to get you guys a field, right? So it's pretty special and says a lot about what we do here in athletics and with our fields and what you guys are doing with youth and you guys that are, you're now getting to be young men and young women, and you just really are learning a lot about life and representing yourself and our community well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We're now going to go into the business portion of our meeting. We'd love it if you'd like to stay, but we completely understand most people leave at this point in time. Our feelings will not get hurt. We've grown to have a very thick skin about this. So thank you for coming out here with us this evening. Have a wonderful evening. Now go play ball. Awesome. Thank you. We will now go to the next portion of our meeting, which will be our division reports. And we have the pleasure of having our recreation reports delivered to us this evening by Sergio. And I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm just going to ask you to tell me how to pronounce it correctly.
That's okay. I'm accustomed to it. It's Raya.
Raya.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to call you Raya.
And I would be okay with it. You know, I don't correct people.
All right. Long I, Raya.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Like papaya is the way.
Papaya.
That's the way I tell people, and they remember it that way.
I usually tell people my name because they call us Sizemore. I don't know why Sizemore comes in. I usually just tell them, you know what, it's pronounced, I'm a size more than I want to be. and it takes them a few minutes to get it, and then they laugh at it, and then they go, no, that's not funny. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you.
No problem. Well, thank you, guys. Okay, yeah, so I'm doing the recreation portion of the presentation. I'll be brief. You guys have all the facts and figures in front of you, so I'm just going to summarize it. If you have any questions at the end, you know, obviously feel free to ask. So let's start off with aquatics. So we had 1,400 or over 1,400 attend lap swim, 195 attend water exercise and master classes, over 1,800 attended swim lessons, or swim lesson participants, and we had over 6,600 attend public swim. In the month of July, we had over 900 students a day attending swim lessons. Through our partnership with the First Five Riverside, we had 38 children, all ages 5 and under, were able to participate in swim lessons for free. It's a scholarship program, and we had 64 applicants who qualified and received scholarship promo codes. We added additional swim lessons. The 5th session was added in August, and it is for the beginning toddler through level 3 courses. And then semi-swim private lessons have also been added, and those will run through September and October. In coordination with other local cities, with Marietta, Lake Elsinore, and Menifee as part of the Valley Wellness Coalition, the city of Temecula offered free exercise classes, and our Temecula portion offered free shallow water aerobics, free water walking class for participants with special needs, and sunset yoga in various parks, and we had approximately 350 participants in this program. On July 30th, 2023, we celebrated National Lifeguard Appreciation Day, and on that day, we honored some of our lifeguard staff. We recognized their service and their great job they do here at the city. Training report for July 2023. Every Friday, we offered 90-minute additional training for staff. And we also offered American Red Cross lifeguarding and water safety instructor courses that began this month and will run all the way through November. On to contract classes. We had a total of 7,373 participants in our classes, and 412 separate classes were added. These classes range from preschool enrichment, youth and teen enrichment, visual arts, performing arts, sports and fitness, senior, and special interests. Those are all types of courses that we offer, and as you can see, there's a whole array within those categories. In addition to our normal classes, because it's summertime, we also offered a number of summer camps, and for those we had over 3,000, actually almost 4,000 camp participants, and over 51 separate camps were offered. And as you can see, they range from basketball camps to youth cooking camps. There's Temecula Glitz Cheer Camp, Temecula Team Tennis Camp, so just a whole varied options for local kids to participate in. Over at the CRC, we had our summer day camp program. That was a program that ran from June 19th through August 11th. It was Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It cost $280 per session per child. It was for children ages 6 to 14, and it was a way for the kids. They had various games scheduled, crafts, music, field trips, swimming, all sorts of fun activities that were offered, and it came to an end last Friday. Over at the skate park, we had our Scooter Jam on July 8th, and it was a free event designed for children 17 and under, specifically scooter riders, and we had 20 participants come, and Jeff Waddleton emceed the event, and some refreshments were provided. Coming up on Saturday, September 2nd, 2023, we'll have a BMX Jam event, and it'll have pretty much the same kind of schedule that this Scooter Jam had, but for BMX riders. The Teen Zone the Teen Zone hours are from 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's a $1 annual membership, and here the participants can play board games, participate in arts and crafts, watch videos, play video games, and just kind of generally hang out. There's also teen basketball that's Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., and that's included with the $1 annual membership. Some of the highlights of July were they got to play crafts, fair, Play-Doh, egg carton, goldfish, beaded wide chime, pressed flower lanterns, all sorts of fun crafts. They also played games like Wheel of Fortune, Just Dance, Balloon Pop, and then they had foodie fun, snow cones, ice cream sundaes, grilled cheese, all sorts of goodies. Also, the Teen Zone hosted on Wednesdays Wacky Wednesdays, and on Wednesday, July 12, 2023, the CRC hosted a Wacky Wednesday event, and 24 participants came. We want to especially thank Matthew Evans from Wild Mike's Ultimate Pizza for donating refreshments. And it looks like they also had a Wacky Wednesday event last Wednesday end of summer carnival. On to the Homeless Outreach Division. Up to date, so as of this date, there have been 48 street exits from our streets in Temecula, and there were 8 in July alone. Just some key highlights of July were on July 10th, there is an individual who was identified, and he was transported to the ranch for temporary housing, and then looks like the next day SWAG was able to transport him to medical detox. 2 days later, on July 12th, city staff contacted 2 more individuals that were also transported to temporary housing at the ranch. And then just a few days later, after that, another individual was identified, and it looks like one of them was arrested for outstanding warrants. But still, they were contacted, and they'll get assistance. 8 camps were identified, and 1 camp was removed. And some miscellaneous items is that staff attended Anti-Human Trafficking Awareness Conference on Thursday, July 13th, and on Wednesday, July 19th, staff attended a collaborative meeting at the Help Center in which SWAG, Temecula Valley Hospital, and city staff were all in attendance. Over at the library, they had a total impact of 21,511 individuals. They had over 60,000 circulated items, over 20,000 at the door count. They answered over 4,000 questions. They had over 16,000 self-checkouts, I'm assuming that's what it is, and almost 6,000 people accessed the Wi-Fi. There were a number of in-person programs offered. It looks like Wild Wonders, Walk on the Wild Side, Christopher T., there's a book for that, Magical Trivia and Pizza, and all had great attendance for those in-person programs. The Parks and Recreation Community Services Subcommittee meeting that took place on Tuesday, August 8th, discussed renaming Vorburg Park and renovating Nakayama Park. The idea put forth is to rename Vorburg Park to Dyson Park and to add a Japanese Serenity Garden over at Nakayama Park. And the subcommittee is in support of both options. In the world of sports, local recognized youth baseball league and softball league had, as we just saw, they advanced to state, and we congratulated them for that. Our city adult softball and kickball league started on July 31st, and our city adult basketball league is already in its 2nd month. Our local recognized football league started their season on August 1st, and our local recognized youth soccer league will start on August 28th. As far as the world of rentals, we're at full capacity for fields and our hockey rinks. And then we also have a number of tournaments going on, of course, which will take place every single weekend this month and actually every month through December. In the world of special events, we had a total impact on 4,886 residents. We held an array of events. On July 13th and 20th, we had our summer concert series. It looks like we also had one on July 27th. Great attendance at those events. We had family baseball night at the Diamond on July 18th. We had Moonlight Movie in the Park on July 21st, National Night Out Temecula on August 1st, and the TCC and Picnic Shelter Rentals, that's not an event. We had a total of 31 rentals of our TCC and Picnic Shelter Rentals, and we have an estimated attendance of 1,660 patrons. And then our Welcome Center experienced 550 walk-ins. Just a preview for what's coming up this month and in September, we have National Preparedness Fair on September 9th at 9 a.m. here at the Civic Center. And then on September 11th, we have our Remembrance event at 6 p.m. at the Duck Pond. Over at the theater, we had a total attendance of 4,655 individuals and an outreach of 15,810. On July 1st and 2nd, the City of Temecula Youth Musical Theater put on a rendition of Grease High School Edition. And on July 16th, they put on a performance of Disney Little Mermaid Junior Summer Camp. And then it looks like on July 21st and 30th, our Fine Arts Network Theater Company put on Disney's Little Mermaid. The total attendance of the 3 engagements was 1,036 at all 3 of them, and then 2,130 patrons attended all 8 Fine Arts Network Theater Company performances. And lastly, at the Merc, they were very busy with performances. On the 1st and 15th, they had Country Live at the Merc. July 6th through the 27th, they had Jazz at the Merc. On July 8th, they had Speakeasy at the Merc. July 9th and 23rd, Classics at the Merc. July 21st, Brazilian Latin Jazz, and on July 29th, stand-up comedy with Monique Marvez. The total attendance at all 14 of these performances was 535 people. This concludes the first section of our report, and we're available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you for that very thorough report, and we
problem.
appreciate having you here with us this
No,
evening.
no problem.
So
Welcome.
we'll go ahead and start with questions from our commissioners, and we'll start with Commissioner Castro.
Thank you for the report. I appreciate all the information. I had a few questions. I was at the National Night Out. It seemed to be sparsely populated. I don't know if it got more people later in the session after I left, but I was wondering if we reviewed doing something different or ideas for how to increase the attendance.
Yeah, throughout the evening, I would say we had about 300. So it is tricky because the event is celebrated annually the first Tuesday of the month. And I know kind of a lot of the different school districts had different start times for the school year, so that may have impacted it. After talking with the sheriff's department at the end, we did have ideas of maybe having different food vendors next year. There's still a discussion to be had about if it's something the city would pay for or so that it would be free to the public. So we are thinking of ideas of adding more activities, but I think just hosting an event on a Tuesday night in itself can be kind of tricky. But I would say for the duration of the event, kind of decent attendance. I don't imagine it'll grow too much more. Maybe in the next few years, if we add more activities, it could grow to like maybe 500 participants. But I think just because traditionally you have to kind of follow the first Tuesday, it makes it a little tricky to engage more people. And also keeping in mind that most people working in an office schedule, kind of the 6 to 8 time frame, but we are definitely always open to suggestions as you attend our events. We love to have your feedback.
I know it's like I think it's a more of a national thing, and I've seen different cities do different things, and I guess didn't it originally start out as more of a taking back the night where people would go out and walk their neighborhoods at night, and I think this was kind of different than what I expected from.
Yeah, and around here in a lot of the cities, what Captain Durham was sharing with me is what they do is they actually drive patrol cars around the neighborhoods in a set sort of patrol pattern.
Yeah.
But the goal is to make it outreach so that communities have a positive association with the police presence or with the sheriff's presence. So they're not only seeing officers or deputies in their communities when they're actively being policed. Yeah. So the goal is to provide opportunities to build relationships. So a couple of years ago, I think it was the first time we kind of took that on here. And the decision was to sort of integrate it into our events because we have a professional team who plans those things.
Yeah.
And to host them here, make it, open to all of public safety and to invite the community to come to the event. But I agree with you, the attendance was sparse and we would definitely like to see more people, but Tuesday nights are kind of a difficult time.
It was pretty hot.
It was, yeah.
So-
The weather's not been our friend for these summer events.
Yeah. Okay. Also had a question about the swim season. How you had any kind of review on how it went? I know it's still swimming season, but the schools are back in. So how did this summer go, and how did we do with lifeguards and that type of thing?
Well, actually, funny you should bring that up. We were originally going to be having, instead of Sergio, which we were glad to have Sergio here, we were originally going to have Melissa Davis here to do that part of the presentation so that she could sort of report out on the summer. Overall, the summer went very well. It was a safe summer, which is always our number one concern with swimming. With aquatics, there's always a risk. People can be injured, people could be hurt. But we'd like to invite the aquatic staff to come back and kind of give a little fuller report on overall how summer went, how the staff training and retention went. They've done some innovative programs in terms of reaching out to potential aquatics professionals and also bringing in kids who are maybe a little too young to be lifeguards, but training through the junior guard program. And then working with HR, we've also implemented some bonuses and some other incentives. And we did a compensation study, which helped increase lifeguard pay. So this would have been the first full summer where we had those methods in place to help increase hiring and retention as well. So.
And one last question. They had the community meeting for the skate park, and I was wondering how that went. I was there for a little bit of it, but did you get the appropriate amount of feedback? What was the feedback? That type of thing.
Were you there for that, Tracy? If not, okay. It went, maybe I should say better than expected. We'd been getting, whenever we post something on social media about the skate park, we get a lot of kind of blistering feedback. The skaters are passionate and unfiltered. So leading up to this project, we kept hearing that our skate park was not good in a variety of colorful terms.
That is not, yeah, I was going to say, that
Yeah.
is not the term that they
Yeah,
used with me.
Variety of colorful language surrounding the current skate park. And then as soon as we announced plans to completely demolish and rebuild from scratch, then we started getting all
We
this
love
feedback.
that park. You can't do that to that park. We
That's
love
my,
it.
that's
It's,
my,
what
from my
was it?
childhood, my
Was
memories.
it lit or was it epic?
There
There was one young man that gave a public comment. He's like, it was like epic or some term that he used for it.
Yeah, so there was a contingent at the meeting that did advocate for keeping the skate park, and of course, they would like us to build a new skate park somewhere else. Which, by all means, if we could have 2 skate parks, that would be fantastic, but there's a reason why that one's there. And frankly, Spawn Ranch and the other consultants involved in envisioning the new skate park said even if we kept the existing skate park, it would have to be substantially remodeled just for safety reasons alone. So there was a contingent there that kind of advocated for keeping the existing skate park, but they were very respectful. And the overall tone of the meeting seemed very positive. So we did get a lot of feedback, and there's going to be additional outreach done before the design is finalized. Essentially now, the consultant's going to take that feedback, develop 2 concept plans, and then they're going to bring those back in some public outreach to get feedback on the 2 concept plans before it comes formally before us or a subcommittee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Castro. Commissioner Hawks?
Thank you, Sergio, and welcome back. I have a couple of comments and a question. So, feedback. So I want to give some feedback to the staff about the swim lessons. I have a friend. She signed her children up for a couple of the swim sessions, and I truly saw the improvements in them, just the confidence, how the children were around the pool before they just were fearful. Now they can just jump in the pool and start swimming. So that is a testimony from the community I saw. And another feedback is from a community member. She have her son register for the adaptive swim, and she was telling me it's so full, which I understand from the number 900. And she said, but then she was on the waiting list, but she saw there are some swim buddies that didn't have a child participating with a buddy. So she said, oh, but I didn't get the call either. So I'm wondering if there is some follow-up with the wait list so that these parents or the children that they can participate in this busy season.
Sure, if you'd like to share her name and information, you can email it to me and we'll make sure we reach out.
Okay.
So the Swim Buddies program pairs a volunteer with the children who participate in the adaptive program. And generally, yes, when somebody's on the wait list, they do get contacted as they move up the wait list if they get close to being enrolled.
Right.
So, but if you give me her information, we'll be happy to follow up.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Thank you,
I
and
will.
thanks for sharing that feedback about the swim lessons. We love to hear that.
Yes. Yes, my children learned their swimming 3 years in a row, have to wait at 8 o'clock to sign them up, so I know. But now they can swim, thanks to all the teachers and the lifeguard. So thank you for all the great work you do. And the question I have is, I'm not sure, I think it's part of a sports event, and I was looking forward to the Build Your Boat Regatta, and I found out it was canceled. And I understood it's very popular and it got canceled. I was just wondering if we can brainstorm some other ways, maybe when we have a popular event like this one, that there's some other ways we can do it instead of just canceling
I'll
it.
let Dawn or Tracy jump in on that one.
Build Your Own Boat is an extremely popular event, and we can only take such a small, limited amount of participants. You know, you've been multiple times. This is kind of how some of our family-friendly, smaller events kind of cycle through. We've done many events that we do for like 5 or 6 years, and that one kind of has had its time. So Build Your Own Boat, we've done it for our 5 to 6 years, and it's kind of, unfortunately, too popular for the space that we have. So hopefully next summer we'll bring back some other sort of activity to replace the Build Your Own Boat.
Yeah, especially we have a new pool coming up, right, in the Margarita. I'm wondering just those, is that because of a lifeguard issue? We need a certain number of lifeguards or just,
Well, it takes a ton of space in the pool itself. So there's only so many people you can fit with their cardboard boats in the pool at one time.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, you've been so many times, 30 boats is really our max,
yeah.
which you've seen how many people would like to participate in that event. And then having to do it in 2 locations, staffing-wise, is difficult for us, obviously. So it's something we'll have to look at for next summer.
Yes.
Also, Dawn, we have had things in the past, years ago, that were popular, like we had Family Friday, Family Fun Fridays, that for one reason or another went away. So maybe you could just speak a little bit to kind of the evolution of some things go away, but then we also gain many new things.
Exactly. So over my career that I've had so far in the city, we had a lot of smaller events that we used to do monthly at the CRC, our family fun nights. And over the years, our signature events have grown tremendously. That takes a lot more time, resources, staffing. So some of our smaller events that don't have as much participation have kind of fell to the wayside as our bigger signature events have either grown or we had new ones like Culture Fest. National Night Out is not something we used to do. Juneteenth. We have quite a few new signature events that we have done instead. But we're always, looking for ways to maybe toss in 1 or 2 smaller family events like we used to.
Yes. We would love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hawks. Commissioner Kingsburg?
Thank you, Sergio, for the report. Good hearing from you. As you were going through everything, coming off the visit from the youth leagues, the baseball and the softball, I just focused on the various opportunities that we have for youth here. I mean, year round, but especially in the summer, and that's probably when it's most critical. The number of kids in swim classes, the emphasis on the lifeguards and recognizing them and the instruction and continued training and nearly 4,000 camp participants in a single month. I mean, that's just staggering. It's amazing. The teen zone, 20,000 plus the library. That's not exclusive to children, but it's certainly a place that the kids can go. So just really impressed with all that, and beyond the fact that the summer concerts appear to be full. I'm glad to hear the update, or at least notice the update on the Welcome Center. That's a fairly substantial number of people to come in and check that out. So again, great job as usual by Community Services. I did have one question. I'm a little curious about the subcommittee, if it's Parks and Recreation Subcommittee, just the composition, the function, who's on it, how often they meet, because I wasn't familiar with that, so I'd appreciate that.
Sure. So the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee, it's technically the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Subcommittee, but that's a mouthful, so a lot of times we just call it the Parks and Rec Subcommittee. So with all of the city's subcommittees, the council, in Temecula, the council relies heavily on 2-person or 2 council member subcommittees to do a lot of their business, which is not every city does that. In this city, a lot of things that would normally have a fairly lengthy discussion on the dais get kicked to a subcommittee. So we have at least a dozen standing subcommittees. The Parks, Rec, and Community Services Subcommittee is a standing subcommittee, so it is noticed. So just like any other public meeting, the public notices get posted, and it is open to the public to come in and observe or make comments, which is a little side note. So Tracy Tominez has been so nice to also handle a lot of the Parks and Rec and Community Services Subcommittee stuff for me. I think we should just add a note that when a notice is going out to send to all the commissioners, so that way you guys don't have to look for public notices, it'll just come to you. Currently, the membership is the mayor, Zach Schwenk, and also Mayor Pro Tem / Community Services President Stu. That changes year to year. Usually the TCSD president will always be on that subcommittee, and the other person kind of arm wrestles with everyone else to see who gets on it, because it's a pretty popular assignment. And generally, they hear things that are pertaining to, like when we have a new fee study, if a new facility is opening, if there's something about a park that's coming up. Pickleball has gone before that a lot. And essentially, they hear things before those things come to the full council. In this case, we had a random event happen where there's also a subcommittee for recognitions. So that's a new subcommittee. It's an ad hoc. It is not noticed. That one is Council Member Alexander and Mayor Pro Tem Stewart. And that one hears anytime there's an application that somebody in the community should be recognized in some ways, it goes to that subcommittee. So in a random meeting of that subcommittee, an issue came up proposing that we rename the park, Voorburg Park, to now be Dyson Park, because we are no longer in a sister city relationship with Voorburg. We are in a sister city relationship with Dyson, and we have Nakayama Park, which Nakayama is like the Murrieta to our Temecula relative to Dyson. So the recommendation actually came up there, and then it was asked that we take that to the Parks and Rec Subcommittee, which it will then be coming here. The next step is that Stacy Fox is going to be working on getting some conceptual designs to renovate that park in a style that would be appropriate for honoring the 30th anniversary of our sister city relationship with Dyson Japan. And then he will bring that back to that subcommittee as well as here to the commission to review before it goes on to full council. So it's a long-winded answer, and I apologize, but there was kind of a lot of context there for that one.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, thank you. I would appreciate getting the notices. I have signed up for subcommittee notifications.
And you don't
And it
get them?
does not. I will
Okay.
get notifications for all of our committee meetings, but I will not get them for subcommittee. I don't know why. So
That's worth-
it's
if you don't mind
dependent on
mentioning
me
that to Erica.
remembering that we have a subcommittee and going and checking.
Yes, and I apologize, I don't know why it didn't occur to me sooner, but since we're sending out those notices anyway, not we, she is sending out those notices anyway, it makes perfect sense to just loop you
Yeah.
guys in at that stage of the game, and then you'll always know what's coming up.
That'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Vice Chair Audi?
No questions, Sergio. Thanks for the great report. Remember, way back when you gave that report. I just wanted to say, piggyback on Councilmember Kingsburg. The numbers always impress me, the participation. We're really upset with you guys because we don't have a lot of kids on our street, but the kids we do have, they're all summer long, they're going to camps, they're going to swimming, and our street is quiet. So we tend to be those people that love to hear the sound of children, but we know that they're participating in healthy events, so thanks for all of that.
Thank you,
It's
Vice
a good
Chair
problem to
Audi.
have.
Yes. I have some children in my neighborhood that make a lot of children noise. Well, anytime you want to come over, you can come sit in my house and listen to it. Thank you. I had a couple of comments and questions. In regards to the jams, do we have an idea which one's most popular between the scooter, BMX, and skate?
I definitely don't offhand. Does anyone else know?
I think both are equally popular, which is why they have split them up into two separate.
Just curious if one seems more popular than the other. Next question. I did want to comment on the National Night Out. I was questioning the 300 in attendance. How did that compare to last year? Because last year seemed like it was a popular event.
I think it was similar. I think last year, we kind of took into consideration, since it was our first year, a lot of the people in attendance were relatives of those who were participating.
Okay.
So this year, I think, was a more genuine number of attendees who came specifically for the event. So, and I think it was just kind of the way it was spread out. So it was similar to last year, but as we mentioned, we're always looking for ways to grow the event.
Okay. Just a possible suggestion as you were talking about food. I know with Boy Scouts of America, we were trying to have a presence at all the National Night Outs. A couple of cities allowed us to be there. You were talking about food. I know that our scouting organizations, they are very good at outdoor cooking, and they would be happy to, units would be happy to volunteer to cook hot dogs and help with that. So just a possible,
Yes, thank you for that offer. We can definitely look into how we could make that work for next year.
just an idea. And I wanted to ask a question on the library. The adult programs, I don't recall that I saw adult programming listed on there. Do we still have like the adult summer reading program?
We do still have adult programming. I don't know if there was anything on this slide. Jello, if we could go back. Well, let's see, library, yeah. Yeah, it looks like we just don't have anything on this particular slide, but we do. All of their activities, almost all their activities are listed in the Guide to Leisure Activities, as Bea just mentioned. But if you're particularly interested, I can also just reach out to Rosie or Ginger and see.
Yeah, I was just interested on what adult programming we still had and how popular it is.
We also have regular press releases that go out every time. I know
Okay.
that there's a financial planning thing coming up for 18 and above, so
Okay.
keep an eye out for the press releases specific to Ronald Roberts Public Library.
And we talked probably, I'm thinking it was around a year ago. It was with when Commissioner Kristevsky was still on the dais. And we were discussing the library and how we had the app, and then the app just stopped working. Is there any movement or any possibility of them bringing that app back?
I don't think so. And I wish there was, but that's a decision at the county, Riverside County Library System level. I'm more than happy to have you direct commentary there because they're not always quite as responsive to us as we would like as staff sometimes.
Okay.
But that decision's made at the county level, and I know that they were trying to standardize across every single library in the Riverside County Library System, so,
Okay.
yeah,
right.
unfortunately.
I still miss the app. And then I wanted to make mention, I love the idea of renaming the park for Dyson. I did have the pleasure of attending the Sister City Association meeting this last month, and I enjoyed seeing them move in that program towards us having exchanges again. And they discussed the 30th anniversary of our relationship. It's 30, right? Yeah, 30. 30-year celebrations and things they were doing, and they mentioned the park renaming, and I thought that was a great idea. So I'm happy to see the city moving forward with that. So thank you. All righty, we will move on to our cultural arts report, and we have Michelle Elrod here with us this evening. Michelle, welcome. It's great to have you here again.
Thank you, Sergio, for the green light. Arts and culture. The ACE team hosted Art Nights on Friday, July 7th, and the gallery exhibit featured Temecula Valley Art League, which is a collective art exhibit of local artists. This concluded with 200 people in attendance. The ACE team continued to showcase art through 4 rotating galleries at the Civic Center, Library, Museum Rotunda, and the Merc. Sister City update. TDM staff member and liaison Isabel Morales, formerly Isabel Aguilera, recently married, sent out a happy summer-themed friendship gifts to the Dyson School District students. The Sister City Association Board held its monthly meeting and warmly welcomed guest TCSD Commission Chair Kathy Sizemore, thank you, and new board member Jeff Rauch. The board members discussed the upcoming 30th anniversary of Sisterhood celebration ideas, and the next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 13th at 6 p.m. if anybody would like to attend that meeting. Community outreach had over 32,000 total views and reaches of over 79,000. The team posted 6 Instagram reels, obtained over 300 plus new followers. Completed projects included a new logo for human resources, posted info of military programs, and released the 2nd episode of the video series of our mayor, Just the Facts with Zach. Upcoming projects include a new Park Adventures episode and the State of the City attendance coverage. Inclusive services. This past month, Commissioner Kingsburg assisted with the summer food services program at Michael Mike Nagar Community Park, which served a total of 1,920 meals and concluded on August 10th. The expanded Rotary Park location served a total of 210 meals and concluded on August 11th. All program participants enjoyed the nutritious meals which were provided on a first-come, first-served basis. The Eagle Soar Playground and Splash Pad program served a total of 112 families and concluded on August 10th. Families enjoyed the Thursday morning inclusive and safe program, which included enrichment activities in partnership with the Disability Sports Foundation. In conjunction with the special events team, High Hopes and SKIP program participants enjoyed watching movie night in the park, which featured the film Monsters University. The Inclusive Visual Arts Summer Program participants learned about painting in the style of Claude Monet, and all participants enjoyed the creative art lesson. Senior Services. 100 seniors enjoyed attending an Independence Day celebration luncheon at the TCC. Fun activities included patriotic sing-alongs, raffle games and prizes, and guest speaker presentations. The monthly senior excursion had a full day visiting San Diego, and all 26 participants enjoyed visiting all the fun attractions offered at Balboa Park, Seaport Village, and Coronado Island. California Senior Talk. The telephone access program was presented to the senior community, and this informative presentation provided knowledge and tools to enhance communication in the digital age. At the Temecula Cool Center, which is located at the TCC, hours are offered from 9 to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, for all who need temporary relief from the heat. Temecula Valley Museum. Total impact, 2,434 patrons visited the museum, which is a 25.7% increase over July 2022. TVM showcased the exhibit Walking in Antarctica. This immersive photography exhibit concluded on August 13th. A gallery talk presentation with artist Helen Glazer was held on Saturday, July 29th, and was well attended with 47 guests. All attendees enjoyed the photographic journey discussion with plenty of time for Q&A. TVM staff hosted Culture Day Portugal on Saturday, July 8th, and guests enjoyed cultural food bites, crafts, watercolor activities, musical entertainment. The event concluded with 218 guests, including Commissioners Dr. Jan Hawks and Jeff Kingsburg. Temecula Valley Museum, the annual Cultural Quest Camp conducted July 10th through the 17th, included 15 participants for both AM and PM sessions. All activities included cultural performances, lessons, crafts, and games. The Emerging Artist Mural Unveil for July and August was unveiled on July 12th. This stunning, beautiful mural was created by art instructor Clarissa Lee and local middle school students in celebration of Japan's Marine Day. The next mural unveil in celebration of California Mission Day is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 13th at 5 p.m. Mark your calendars for upcoming events in August and September. August 18th through October 29th, we'll be showcasing our new exhibit, the 16th Annual Ralph Love Plein Air Competition participants. Friday, September 22nd at 5 p.m., we will have the Ralph Love Plein Air Competition reception where winners will be announced. And Saturday, September 23rd at 1 p.m., exhibit event Paint in the Park at Sam Hicks Park, a free art lesson with local plein air artist Barb Nelson. Workforce development had an impact of 319 participants. The Legal Scholars Program was offered July 6th through August 2nd, and 30 college students participated in courtroom shadowing, guest speaker presentations, school campus tours, and law school counselor discussions. The Medical Careers Pathway Program was offered June 26th through August 2nd, and 40 high school students participated in physician-led healthcare lectures, presentations of medical field careers, and vital sign demonstrations. Future Physician Leaders Program was offered June 27th through August 2nd, and 20 college students participated in physician-led healthcare lectures, community health resource project program, and physician shadowing at Temecula Valley Hospital. The Leadership Academy program was offered July 5th through the 14th. All 33 students participated in workforce job interviews, leadership workshops, and a guest speaker presentation by former council member Marianne Edwards. Our Youth Entrepreneurship Program was offered July 19th through July 28th. All 50 students participated in business workshop activities and a business pitch competition presentation to a panel of judges. Our Youth Innovators Program was offered on Wednesday mornings for high school students, and the students participated in youth and city event programs. Internship and Fellowship Program. 23 college student interns completed their internships in several city departments. The Externship Program, 11 high school graduates and college students completed their externship in several career fields. The Mayor's Intern Appreciation Luncheon. On July 26th, the City of Temecula honored 108 interns for their dedication and valuable contributions. We want to thank all our 108 2023 interns for their dedication and hard work. This concludes our full report, and we're available to answer any questions you may have. And thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate having you here this evening. We'll start with Commissioner Kingsburg. Questions, comments?
There we go. Thank you, Chair Sizemore. And thank you, Michelle, for the report. Appreciate it. Not to be redundant, but again, just looking at some of the statistics, I like to look at statistics and trends and that kind of thing. So, seeing an all-time high in monthly social media views, again, impressive. The museum attendance up significantly. And then, again, just looking at the variety of programs in the workforce development and seeing all those interns, and that's just awesome, 108 interns. Just a variety of options for students to get enrichment over the summer. And it was mentioned the food program, summer food service program. I did have a chance to go over and work the line there a couple days and enjoyed that opportunity to work with recreation staff and provide lunch for the children that were attending over there. My question is, there was you shared the splash pad, the Eagle Soar splash pad. Is that the one at Margarita Park? Okay.
Correct.
And it was, in the nature of your report, it spoke to 112 families, and that looked like for special needs students. And it may have come up in the other report, but I was just amazed. One of the things that came out of doing that food service program was just seeing the number of kids and families that are over at that splash pad, on a hot, late summer morning, midday. And so I don't know if numbers are tracked for that or they were shared in the previous report, but I am curious. It just seems like it's highly successful, especially during a July heat wave. So.
Yeah, that splash pad gets loved to death. Like, it is just so popular. We're very excited that when the CRC gets renovated, and then not quite part of the next phase, but it's a long story. Suffice it to say, there's a new splash pad that will be going in at the CRC. If you're familiar with the pool there, if you walk from the building onto the pool deck, to your left, past the slide, there was a separate fenced area that used to be a kiddie pool. It's just a big, round, very shallow pool. That's going to be turned into a splash pad. So we're super excited. We don't track attendance there. Sometimes we'll have people count. We'll have staff just do quick head counts, but it gets filled max capacity all the time. And we turn it off for 1 hour every day for maintenance to make sure the water quality is where it needs to be. And we hear about that periodically. I just got here, it's 1 o'clock, why is the splash pad off? And we shut it down on Mondays for weekly maintenance, and we hear about that all the time too. So it's extremely popular. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioner Kingsburg. Commissioner Hawks?
Thank you, Michelle, for the report. Congratulations for the increase in the July attendance in museum.
Thank you.
That's a great news. And then I have a question about the exterm. You talk about intern. Can you explain a little bit about the exterm?
Sure, so, do you want to, Bea?
Yeah, the
jump right
extern
in, sorry.
programs are going to be at outside businesses. So there are automotive and manufacturing and other businesses. So the interns that we have here some are paid, some are just for experience. And then the externships are the ones for the companies that we have relationships with and partnerships with. So automotive, manufacturing, and culinary. Thank you.
Thank you. So the kids can apply to those externships through the city?
Yes, through Charles Walker.
Okay. That's
And,
great.
and all of that information and a very thorough booklet is online at
Okay.
Workforce Development webpage, so you can
Yeah, I
read
remember.
all the
Yeah.
different descriptions.
Okay.
But that is where he thrives, and the college fair is coming up too, and that's where we get a lot of the word out for these opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's really great for the kids, high school kids, to have these kind of opportunity, either come here or come to local business. So thank you for all those programs. And my last question is lifeguard required? I've seen lifeguard at the splash pads. Is that required for us to have it?
It's not actually required. We station lifeguards there during the busiest time. So basically, the middle, like summertime, when it's at its busiest, we have it staffed with lifeguards. In the fall, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, technically, a lot of cities have splash pads and they don't staff them at all. It's just like any other playground. You just go with your kids. You can use it however you like.
Okay, thank you. One last comment is, I was also at the food program a few times. I just see the line and how many families are there enjoying the food and having a picnic and in the splash pad, so it's really well done. And compared to that, I know we added a Rotary Park, but it seems the number is relatively low compared to the splash pad. So are we going to pick a different park?
No, the parks are selected based on the title, is it Title I? The economic, CDBG designation for those areas. So we don't just pick random parks. They have to be in a certain economic range, so we can then have that federally funded program service it. And we were only 2 days at the Rotary Park, Monday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it was more days at the established Mike Nagar Park. This is the first summer at Rotary, and that was initiated also by the mayor.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Audi.
Thanks, Michelle. Quick question on the sister city again. I asked this question a lot. Was there anything on the agenda to discuss a second sister city? Or has that been dropped? Or where are we with that?
No, that's always on the agenda. It's just a matter of syncing up the same people that are interested, that we're interested in, the parameters. So it's still, we have cities that reach out to us all the time, but it's really a matter of making sure that our goals and our economic interests line up. A wine country would be ideal, obviously. You know, some people say Europe or France, or, you know, so it's like dating, right? So we have to be very careful on who we want to have a relationship with long term. So it doesn't happen overnight, but the discussions are on the agenda.
Thanks for continually giving me those answers. Maybe I need to show up like Chair Sizemore.
You know, I think part of it is there's a significant financial investment in having a sister city relationship if you're doing it right. Really, we should be sending delegations, exchanging delegations at least once a year. Dyson sends a student delegation and an adult delegation here to visit us basically annually. COVID kind of, you know, obviously messed that up, but they'll be resuming sending their delegations. Historically, we've been a little less participatory in that regard, and it is fairly expensive when we send, let's see, I want to say the last time we were looking at it for this coming year, we were looking at sending like 3 or 4 dignitaries from our city, and it ends up being $25,000 to $30,000 by the time you factor in everything. So, and that's in addition to the funding we provide to the Temecula Sister City Association, you know, any additional exchanges we participate in, any activities, recognitions, the anniversary celebrations. So I think some of it is, I think it hasn't been, as with most things that require cash outlay in the city, it tends to get the most traction when there's an advocate on council who is pushing for that. And with a city we have an $800 million CIP, we have been undertaking business or building renovations left and right. We're building new things. We're doing the French Valley Parkway. I think the council has been a little more focused on the combination of new capital projects and debt reduction since we paid off the 2 buildings this past year. All of which is just a way of saying this could change at any point, but we should always bear in mind that it does require a financial investment as well as just, you know, it's not just being pen pals, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking about the origination of it was kind of there were some other funding behind it when we got it going, and there were other activities through different groups that made trips. I think one of them involved like a volleyball club or something like that made a trip. But maybe, you know, anytime we do the money thing, it does take a little more creative thinking and
Exactly, that's a good way of putting it.
To not stress our budget, which we've done such a great job with, but to think of other means of getting it done. So it's been real helpful to listen to the reasons why, and I think, you know, possibly working with one of our other commissions would make a lot of sense, dealing with the cultural aspects of our commission, and maybe working with the Ready Commission. We could maybe we could have a subcommittee of our own. You know, bring back the subcommittees.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, we would do more of what you just said. We would have exchanges of, you know, maybe student athletic teams or maybe different cultural exchanges.
Right.
It would be great to see someday. I also think if we had a really strong sister city association that was capable of maybe doing some of the financial lifting, that would help a lot. But we actually, in this city, we kind of have the opposite situation, which is we fund them. So, you know, if we had a city that for whatever reason had more of an established, you know, third-party nonprofit that was like, hey, we're going to fundraise, we're going to do this, that would be super helpful.
That was going to be my question on it, to join the dialogue, is who does the initiation? Who's the driving force? Is it the city or the Sister City Association when it comes to getting having a new relationship?
I mean, it's a joint effort, but there is a process of officially applying and then getting people interested and then having talks and meetings, because it isn't just, hi, your new sister city is X. It's dialogue back and forth and the mayor, and you know, it's like, it takes time. It's not an overnight thing. So we've been proposing like our next sister city timeline. It's not something you can just say, by December of next year, we're going to have a new sister city. It's an evolution. It's not just something that you can, you know, make happen. It evolves.
So is there an element of we need to help the Sister City Association grow in order to kind of get
That would help to activate new membership or additional hands, sponsorship opportunities. Definitely to breathe new life, because a lot of the people that have been there for a while, you know, are just, it's through attrition that we lose some, and then we don't necessarily have a lot of new people on board. So your advocacy and participation certainly breathes new life into it, and they get excited about it, but then when you have to put pen to paper and, you know, cash towards it, that's where it kind of fizzles.
Well, I think it's something that I've kind of worried about for several organizations in our city. I know our history has always been very important to us. And I worry that as the people who know the stories are aging and, sadly we're losing them, I'd hate to have stories die. I'd hate to have our history die. And I feel the same way about the Sister City Association and this whole relationship we'd have. I'd hate for that Sister City Association to age out, so to say, and then we lose that element of our city.
It's timely that you bring that up. We have lost several of our biggest luminaries in our local history just within the last year or two, and it's a huge loss. You lose so much knowledge and information. In terms of the Sister City Association and Sister City in general, on the Councilmember Stewart, Mayor Pro Tem Stewart is really the biggest advocate for that. Everybody knows he loves to travel, and he's a huge advocate for cultural exchange and for the Sister City relationship in general. And next year will be his mayoral year, so that may be a time where there may be a nice opportunity there to pursue something further.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Gary? Okay, Commissioner Castro?
I don't have any questions, but I did want to comment on the number of development programs. I find that very impressive. I'm a big fan of being proactive instead of reactive, so I really like seeing those programs. Please give my kudos to all the people running those. Also, my wife's cousins moved to Temecula this last couple months, and they have a 3-year-old, and they were, first place they went was the splash pad, and they thought it was the greatest thing ever, so another vote for the splash pad.
That's great to hear. And with the development programs, you said, all the people who run those, it's really Charles Walker.
Okay.
He's kind of a one-man show, and we would like to get him more staff support, but because obviously that's very challenging, but he's really brainstormed all of those workforce development programs. And
He does have a very effective army of youth supporting him as well. And what's interesting is that 2 of the interns that I saw at the lunch, they are brothers, they're twins, the fraternal twins, and I knew their mom before they were even born. So I've seen a whole lifetime, a whole generation. Now they're coming through as young entrepreneurs and just interns, and it was really gratifying to see some kids that we saw grow up at the theater are now, having their first job experience. So shout out to them.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioner Castro. I wanted to ask on the future physicians. I know school's just started today, but I'm thinking summer 2024. How would do I want to tell people to reach out to Charles Walker now so that they get on an email list for next summer? Or when should I be telling people, because I have some future physicians in my life, when should I be telling them to
They
start
can
looking
reach out to Charles anytime, the earlier the better. There is application processes and so forth, so if you just email him or go through the website and read the descriptions, and then the time frame is usually in the summer. But if you want to just get on the wait list or the, remind me email, Charles is the first person to connect with, and then he will let you know what the timeline is. But there are applications that he would want you to fill out.
Okay, all right, I will pass that along.
And just so you're aware, for reference, there's 2 closely related programs. The Future Physician Leaders Program is for college students.
What's the high school one?
The Medical Career Pathways.
Medical Career Pathways?
Yes, and they go through the classroom learning section is the same, but then the college students get to do actual rotations through Temecula Valley Hospital, and the high school students don't do that, just because of age concerns
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
liability.
Okay. Do we have any affiliation with the, BSA has their Explorers program? We have an Explorer post at the hospital. Does this program cross over with that at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
They do their rotations through the hospital, but I don't think they interact at all.
All right. I wanted to mention the art, the plein air. I'm looking forward to getting to judge that again and go to the award ceremony night. As I've been able to meet local artists in our community, start to follow them on social media. The past month I've been seeing artists posting, oh, I'm out here painting, and so I'm getting excited I'm getting excited to see that contest.
We're all very excited, and we actually have a local artist who's a breast cancer survivor and has been through Michelle's Resource Center, and she was out painting. We were just so excited that she was healthy enough to get outside because she was just so determined.
Yes.
And so we're excited about all our participants, about our gallery, about our reception, and then, of course, I don't know if you're familiar with Barb Nelson, but she's also a local artist and plein air artist, and so we're excited about her event as well, which is a free art lesson.
Neat. That's fun. Great. I wanted to make mention the social media. It's great. I've really enjoyed watching the Instagram reels, and I wanted to make mention after the State of the City. I was very impressed with the media that we had at the State of the City this year. So kudos on that. Thank you. All righty. We will now go to the consent calendar of our portion of our meeting. We have one item, which is to approve the action minutes from our meeting on Monday, July 10th, 2023. So do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
Move to approve the minutes?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Tracy, can we take a vote?
So we have a motion from Vice Chair Audi and a second from Commissioner Yuan Hawks. So we'll do roll call vote. Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
Commissioner Hawks?
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsburg?
Aye.
Vice Chair Audi?
Aye.
And Chairperson Sizemore?
Aye.
Right. It's unanimous. The motion is approved.
Thank you. Wouldn't you wouldn't that be funny if like one meeting we all go, no, I'm not going to approve it. I don't know what Tracy would do. I think we'd just be like,
I would not. I'd be like, okay, I guess we'll move that to the next meeting.
thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Now for our director's report.
Okay.
Ms. Russo?
Yes, thank you. Just a few items, and actually, since James was kind enough to show up tonight, I'm actually going to put him on the spot a little bit. But I just wanted to thank him for bringing in those recognized youth leagues, and he mentioned a little bit about how those recognized youth leagues are all volunteer-led. These are the organizations that are chartered and committed to making youth sports affordable and accessible to everyone in our community. And so there are some policies in place that help, in some ways, preference those organizations so that they get first crack at booking fields, many other things James can explain to you. But occasionally, we get pushback from people from some of the club teams. The club teams are generally for-profit. These are all nonprofits. The club teams charge more typically. And generally, the club teams don't serve as many residents. They typically have a broader net, and they bring in, kids from all over the region. And periodically, I would say probably every season, somebody from some club team, would you agree, James? Yeah. Makes James' life miserable by throwing a fit, going to council, demanding they get more time. Sometimes they come up with creative ways of doing this, things they assume that James and his staff, after how many years in sports have you been in, James? 24 years. Somehow they think they're going to come up with something that James has not thought of in 24 years of doing this. But this year we had one of those instances, and we had on the soccer side a soccer club come in, and they were upset they weren't getting more field time. And after many, many, many years of hearing this explained to me, James invited me to actually meet with the team's kind of representatives over at Summers Bend. And it was so enlightening to hear a couple of these representatives just talk about the commitment they have to our youth and what they do to make sure that these programs remain affordable and accessible. So James, I'd just like to invite you up, if you don't mind, just taking an extra minute and maybe just elaborating a little bit on, the recognized youth leagues, and then if any of you had any specific questions. But I think this is a really good opportunity, so in the future, when you hear these complaints, you'll have maybe a little bit more background on why we do things the way we do.
Yeah, so we'll start off in the early years where we created a sports council meeting, and we got to a point where fields are premier here in the city of Temecula. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fields, and everyone wants to play on them. And so basically we have gone through a process where actually the youth leagues themselves have brought up ideas, come up with, the numbers don't lie, right? So what we do is we break down how many fields we have, how many Temecula participants they have. We have a formula that creates how much field space they get each season. As Erica mentioned, we have a couple policies in place that saves me a whole lot of headache because I can just go, here it is. But we keep them to it to make sure that they're honest as well. So we have come, I would probably say, within the last 10 years, we have a good core group of presidents that work together great. Before, we've sat in some meetings that we've come down to 1 hour on a field that no one was budging on. So now, with that said, we're in a state where they work together, everyone's great. Like we said, they're volunteers. It just works out great. So it's great to have them here. We do have our rentals, as you see continuously on our recaps, that our rental groups are completely full. We as a city, we do recognize the pendulum is shifting, where especially COVID hit, where the local youth leagues during the guidelines couldn't play. But we had these competitive leagues that were playing, I guess, illegally, if that's fair to say. So a lot of people shifted over to travel ball. And some came back, but some stayed at the competitive level. It costs a lot of money. They have paid coaches. They wear 2 or 3 different uniforms. They travel, 2 different breeds. So when I started here with the city of Temecula, our council as well as our commission supported that grassroots recreation, so anyone could basically make a team. You go to competitive, you try out, you might make it, you might not. Sorry, with the recognized youth leagues that you saw, everyone is placed on a team. They have rules in place where you play at least 2 innings on the infield, or everyone bats. So you can see the comparisons, and I'm not going to bore you on the details. So hopefully that's enough, unless you want me to hit on something a little bit more. I'd be happy to answer any questions and talk here all night.
I think that's a great intro. Do any of you have any questions while we have James here? And I should say, and Sergio as well has been up to his neck in this as well. He's been fantastic.
I'd like to make a comment, and I think I'm still on the committee, right? But the point is, I went to this sports committee with James and Sergio, and I sat in a few of those, and there's really not a great need for a commissioner to be there anymore. I know that it is some backup if in fact an issue comes up. But the point I'm making is the formula that you worked out and the way you have people working together now is it's unbelievable, because then we just go around and we see kids are out there playing and it looks fun and everything, but to get that accomplished is really quite a great job on your part, James, and Sergio being a part of it too. And I do want to just give my own personal viewpoint that I agree with the founding fathers on this, that we should be supporting the participation. Club sports have their place. They're trying to make more of a place, but I think that the more you look at it, those participation leagues give kids opportunities. There's no way of knowing that young athlete is going to come out and just be a superstar athlete later, but they're learning life lessons, and they should have a place to participate. So I would say I support that philosophy also.
Thank you. And just to touch on a couple of those, for a couple of comments, we did need a commissioner there back in the day when I was talking about that, is because we needed someone to represent our Temecula residents as well as our staff. Kind of, you were the buffer at the time, and yes, now it's working out very well. We have everything in place. I know you're on vacation, you're doing a couple things, you missed a couple, and it's kind of been one of those things where it's like, hey, Gary, here's a follow-up kind of deal. So for future, you guys can discuss it. I'd be more than happy to have you guys stay on or not. but you guys can talk about that later. On the other one, you're absolutely right, Gary, with the grassroots is all of these competitives, they're a business, and that's all it is. And they overpromise their participants, which is unfortunate. And like I said, our fields are awesome. We have these turf fields that are coming online. Hopefully with the uptown, that will relieve a little bit of, cross our fingers if or when that happens, that will leave some field space that we can accommodate a little bit more. But once again, this is a business for these people, and they're very aggressive. So thank you for that support with the grassroots deal.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and speaking to us again this evening.
Yeah, we literally have had, and this year had it again, groups come in and say, okay, so you're saying you want me to spy on these other groups? We're like, no. But we get grainy cell phone pictures of somebody on a field that they say isn't supposed to be there. It's very cloak and dagger. So thank you for taking the time, James. I really appreciate it. And it is, when we say Parks and Rec, one of the most important parts of the rec portion and the parks portion is the sports. And, as an organization, we believe wholeheartedly that the role of youth sports, accessible youth sports, it cannot be overstated in terms of what it allows children to experience and learn, to work together as teams, to suffer indignities, to learn how to be a graceful loser, to learn how to be a graceful winner. The skills that children learn in these youth sports programs and these kids who are here tonight, those are skills they're going to take with them into the rest of their life. So it's truly at the heart of what we do, and having those recognized youth leagues and protecting their priority and their access to these fields is really a core component. So hopefully that helps you again, and if you ever happen to be on the receiving end of some keyboard warrior who wants to know why we do things the way that we do, we are always happy to explain, but also that gives you a little bit of background as well. So
I wanted to ask one more question since James brought it up, because that was the last existing committee when we went through the process of getting rid of our committees. So for the new council or new commissioners, we had kind of like subcommittees on our commission too, but we went through a phase where we got rid of them. The only one that stayed per James' request was that commissioner on the sports committee as the buffer. But if he's really offering, maybe we should consider putting that on an agenda.
Sure, absolutely. Tracy, would you mind agendizing that? Thank you. Good. So just one other thing I wanted to share during my director's report. Many of you know Rosie Vanderhoek, who has been our library manager since that library opened. She has actually worked in Temecula's libraries since 1972, so over 50 years, back when our first library was actually just a little storefront over in Tower Plaza. It was just a little window, essentially, with some books in it. Rosie is a consummate professional. She's been just nothing but a joy to work with and an absolute inspiration. She also serves on the board of directors for the Temecula Cemetery District, and she is currently a puppy raiser for Canine Companions, so she volunteers a ton of her time to get these adorable little puppies and spends 18 months training them and raising them, and then hands them back to an organization that will help train them to become a support for individuals who need support animals, support dogs in particular. So I say all that because Rosie has announced that she will be retiring. Yeah, so we are heartbroken to lose her, so sad. We will be pursuing a recognition suitable to the amount of time she has dedicated to this community. We'll need to bring that to the recognition subcommittee, and we should have an update on that after the meeting is on September 5th. So with that, just stay tuned for details, but tomorrow will actually be her last official day in the office. So we're very sad to lose her. LS&S, which is technically her employer since we run the library through a contract with RCLS, Riverside County Library Systems, then subcontracts with LS&S, Library Systems and Services. They have agreed to our request that they promote Ginger Safstrom, who is currently the children's librarian over there, to be the next library manager. And we're also, Ginger has been around almost as long as Rosie has, and we are delighted to have her in that role as well. Any of you who've met either of those women know what extraordinary community assets they are. So we will be planning something for Rosie, though, and we'll keep everybody in the loop. So
Thank you.
And that concludes my director's report.
I can't control him.
I know, I'm sorry, because you keep
He's
bringing it
uncontrollable,
up.
unstoppable.
But I wanted to say 3 things on what you said. And I've had the fortune of working with Rosie, and I know Jeff has a history too, being in the school district, but she is also a former TVUSD trustee.
Yes,
and a
that's
good
true.
one.
I forgot.
Yes.
I forgot to mention
Yeah,
that. Thank
an
you.
outstanding trustee. And she's just meant so much to the community. And to just say that you made an amazing choice with Miss Ginger. So
Thank you.
I mean, have you
that's
grown up
awesome
in
news.
Temecula if you don't know the train whistle of Miss Ginger? Have you grown up in Temecula if you don't know that?
Thank you for sharing that, Gary. That's a very important part of Rosie's CV, and I appreciate you bringing that up, especially in light of everything happening now, and also your vote of support for Ginger. She's an absolute delight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now I don't know where we're at, Gary. Has everybody had an opportunity to make their comments, questions? I think I ended. All right, we're at director's report, okay.
Yeah, so
So we
there was a
haven't
lot
had
of
our-
comments during the director's
Okay,
report.
we haven't
so
had our
It's very
commissioner
free form
reports.
tonight, so yeah, now is your
Okay.
commissioner's report.
All right, we're community services, go rogue. Gary, go ahead, Gary,
I have no comments.
because you made them all. Commissioner Castro. But keep it in line.
I know.
I'm watching you
I
guys.
appreciate Gary letting me talk. I wanted to say thank you to everybody letting us go to the State of the City. That was an incredible experience. It was great to see. I really liked the audio-visual stuff, multimedia stuff for the mayor's speech. That was really good. I received the theater magazine in the mail. It was really good. My wife took the grandson to see Little Mermaid, and he got 2 big thumbs up from the theater. And I had one more thing. I think that's it. Oh, the Wednesday night market. I went to one of those. I think that's a great opportunity for people to get out. I was a little hot at the beginning, but it seemed to get more people towards the end. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Castro. Commissioner Hawks?
I'll keep it short. I appreciate the breakfast with the board and commissioners, just to network with them. And also appreciate the state of the city, just for us to know what's going on in the city and have a big picture. And I'm very curious of those, the mayor in the video game, is that outsourced or it's done in-house?
That's outsourced. There's an individual named Lucas. Anyone remember Lucas's last name? Anyway, he's a professional drone videographer, and then he also does video games. So he was able to, he shot the drone footage of all the places you see in the video game, and then he kind of cartoonifies it, essentially gamifies it, and adds in Zach to it. But he's a professional videographer and drone videographer and game maker. So it was
Great.
really cool, though.
Maybe the city can make a video game of it.
He actually approached us about that several years ago. He approached us in community services specifically for the skate park. He wanted to make a skating game in our skate park, but we didn't have the budget for something like that. But I was happy to see he had the opportunity. And many of you know Mike Morey, who does our videography in-house for TCSD. So Mike and Jeff worked with Lucas over doing that drone footage of the MRC as well. So he flew, I want to say he flew maybe 10 takes. Oh, Lucas Preddy. He flew maybe 10 takes of the Nagar Park and the MRC to get that footage, and where the drone flies through the opening in the building. And there's one scene, or there's one moment where it kind of flies through something on the playground, and then there's like a pole right there, and it has to go around. On one of the takes, the drone flew into the pole, and there's drone pieces everywhere. But it was a really cool production, and Mike and Jeff did a lot of juggling to help the city manager's office with putting those together.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kingsburg.
Thank you. Yeah, so it came up in the Arts and Culture report that Michelle gave. Our commission was well represented at the mural unveiling. I believe that was on July 12th, and I know Commissioner Castro brought up the market. I walked down and spent time at the market, that first market on July 12th, and then there's been a couple since. I think it's a great concept for the community to come out and share space together and be outside and have a variety of things they can do. So that was great. I also attended the senior event last Thursday at the senior center. It was a luau theme, and it was a festive event. The choir was outstanding, just amazing. I spent some time with Bea there as well, and visited with her. And then, yeah, just getting back to the state of the city, an honor to be there with all of you, and I think all of our commissioners were there. And I know a couple times the video emphasis came up, and not, the technical side is well beyond my grasp, so obviously it was incredible. But I was just really impressed with the emphasis on the innovation, the theme of innovation, both in the business world, the food sector, and then also the work the city does with job training for special needs youth in the horticulture and viticulture fields. That was really impressive, along with the mayor's speech and everything. So really need to be a part of that. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I wanted to thank the city for our Commissioner Appreciation Breakfast. I appreciated that time, and thank you for honoring and recognizing our commissioners. It was nice to see those of you that attended and to read all the nice compliments that everybody had for each other. It was a nice morning. And I also wanted to thank the city for having us at the State of the City. I wanted to give my appreciation to my fellow commissioners. I was very proud, can I say proud, that I had my whole commission there at a table with me. And I was very proud to say that I had all of my commissioners there, and you guys are so dedicated to our city, and I really appreciated you showing up and being there. And I appreciated that. I kind of felt in a way, I know Zach was the star, but he talked about so many things that are community services related, so I think we were really the star. So that's my 2 cents. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. It was great having you all there, and I hope you all enjoyed it. It was really a fantastic production, and we always enjoy seeing what we do as a team represented so well on that stage.
We had a wonderful table. I think my only feedback and request would be next year, could we have a table that doesn't have a gigantic speaker right over it? Because we tried to talk, and it was really hard to. I know Ernie said some things to me, and Gary said some things to me. I think they were good.
Yeah, that one is
I
for
might
the
have agreed to
chamber,
something.
Yeah, yeah, that one, that's a question for the chamber. We don't have anything to do with the seating.
But it was definitely a beautiful event, and I really appreciated seeing that. And you see something like that, and it makes you really proud to call Temecula home. So now I noticed, looking at our agenda, it says that our next meeting will be Monday, September 11th here in council chambers, but I believe that to be inaccurate, as we will be having our Patriots Day 9/11 memorial service ceremony.
Yes, that's correct. So I believe we had to put down that the next meeting is on September 11th because then it takes an action from
We
the
have to
commission.
have a formal cancellation notice go out.
Yes.
So you are correct, we won't be having a meeting, but just to follow the procedure, we have to say that it'll be taking place on its routine monthly time.
Okay.
But we will be issuing a formal notice to say that it's canceled, and then we will resume in October.
Okay, so I will adjourn to that, but I do want my commissioners to know that we will have the 9/11 ceremony on 9/11. So I do expect to see all of you there, because just consider that that's going to be our meeting. We'll have our meeting there. So I look forward to seeing all of you at that event and showing them what community services, we're there. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to take liberties, and I'm going to adjourn this meeting. until Monday, September 11th at 6 PM here in council chambers. But I would like to adjourn this meeting in recognition and gratitude and in celebration of Rosie the librarian upon her retirement after over 50 years of service to Temecula. That's a lot of generations of youth that have grown up in this city, and I know in my household, those libraries have made a huge difference. And so we are appreciative of Rosie and your service to our community, and we're going to adjourn tonight's meeting in celebration of her. I'm going to cry.